The tension in the air right now, in January 2026, is so thick you could cut it with a carbon fiber wing. We are standing on the precipice of a new era. But instead of excitement, there is a palpable sense of dread and betrayal vibrating through the paddock. Let's be absolutely real for a second. The dream of Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari has so far been a recurring nightmare. When he stepped into that cockpit a year ago, we all wanted to believe in the fairy tale. We wanted the red suit, the 8th title, and the glory, but what we got was a technical and psychological car crash. The problem isn't just the car. It's a name that has become synonymous with frustration. Riccardo Adami. The chemistry between them isn't just missing, it's toxic. We saw it in Miami when Lewis accused him of taking a tea break while the race slipped away. We heard the explosive rage in Las Vegas when Lewis asked how they were in 10th place, only to be met with a silence that felt like a slap in the face. And then there was Abu Dhabi. The final race of 2025 was the bitter end of a year where Lewis Hamilton, for the first time in his legendary 18th-year career, failed to stand on a Sunday podium. Let that sink in. 18 years of greatness. And it was the Ferrari partnership that broke the streak. When Lewis told Adami to stop telling me I'm racing and just let me race, he wasn't just talking to an engineer. He was screaming at a system that he no longer trusts. Fred Vasseur is trying to play the diplomat, saying they underestimated the transition, but the decision to keep this duo together for 2026 feels less like stability and more like a surrender. They are sugarcoating a pill that is already stuck in the tifosi's throat. But if you think Ferrari's internal war is the biggest story, your head is about to explode. While Ferrari was busy arguing on the radio, Mercedes was playing a game of technical shadow boxing that has left the rest of the grid paralyzed with fear. We are talking about legalized cheating on a scale we haven't seen since the double diffuser. Mercedes and Red Bull have found a loophole in the 2026 engine regulations that is worth nearly half a second per lap. The rule says the compression ratio must be 16:1 when measured at room temperature. It sounds simple, right? Well, Mercedes realized that by using specific materials that expand under extreme heat, they can push that ratio to 18:1 the moment the car hits operating temperature on track. This isn't just a clever trick, it's a technical heist. The FIA is stuck. They measure the engines cold, so on paper, Mercedes is perfectly legal. But on the asphalt, they are running a completely different animal. Ferrari, Audi, and Honda are screaming for justice. But the FIA is essentially paralyzed, taking their time in technical forums while Mercedes is already months ahead in development. This is why Alpine had to delay their tests. Toto Wolff is playing it cool, acting like the glass-half-empty guy on podcasts, but behind the scenes he's holding a royal flush. He even blocked technical data from reaching Alpine because he's terrified that if they get a fair engine, they might actually compete. It's cold, it's calculated, and it's pure Mercedes. And what about Red Bull? The empire is crumbling, and the man holding the sledgehammer is none other than Helmut Marko. When the most loyal soldier in the camp comes out and says the 2026 title belongs to a Mercedes-powered driver, you know the situation is desperate. Red Bull sacrificed 2025 to focus on their first ever in-house engine with Ford, but the reality check has been brutal. Max Verstappen is in the dark. He's visited the factories. He's seen the dynos, and his message is clear. None of us have any idea if this will work. For the first time, Max sounds like a man who is looking for the exit door. And why wouldn't he? His management team ensured there's a performance clause. If Red Bull isn't winning by the summer break in 2026, Max can walk away. The king is ready to abdicate if the throne starts to rust. But the most cinematic betrayal is happening in the shadows of the Alpine garage. Christian Her, the man who was supposed to disappear after his exit from Red Bull, is planning a comeback that feels like a revenge movie. He isn't looking for a job. He's looking for ownership. He's eyeing a stake in Alpine, and he's bringing the Red Bull brain trust with him. There is a massive exodus happening in Milton Keynes. Engineers who have been loyal to her for decades are seeing a path to redemption at Alpine. Hero can offer them power, money, and a chance to get back at the team that cast him out. If Her pulls this off, he will dismantle Red Bull from the inside out, taking the very people who know the secrets of their 2026 engine and putting them in a blue car. Then we have the tragedy of Audi and Sauber. We all felt the chills when Gabriel Bordolto's engine fired up in Barcelona. It's a moment of immense pride for Brazil, seeing a 22-year-old taking on the world. But we have to be honest about the mountain he has to climb. Audi bought a ghost ship. SAA has been neglected for 15 years. The infrastructure is decaying. The data is ancient and the culture is stuck in the past. Jonathan Wheatley is celebrating making the car run. But in F1, just running is failing. They are trying to rebuild a house while the hurricane of 2026 is already hitting the shore. They've chosen a push-rod suspension while Ferrari went pull-rod. One of them is fundamentally wrong. And if it's Ferrari, Hamilton's 8th title isn't just delayed, it's dead. And let's not forget Aston Martin. Lawrence Stroll spent billions to bring Honda back and lure Adrian Newey into his lair. But Newey is walking into a disaster. Honda is already admitting they are struggling in too many areas. They are losing engineers to Red Bull and failing to grasp the technical tricks that Mercedes has mastered. Stroll forced Honda to stay, and now they are both trapped in a marriage of convenience that looks like it's headed for a high-speed divorce. Fernando Alonso is facing another year of fighting for 9th place while the giants disappear into the distance. The psychology of this grid is at a breaking point. Look at Oscar Piastri at McLaren. He finished 2025 knowing his team would always choose Lando Norris when the pressure was on. Dr. Riccardo Ceccarelli, the legendary F1 psychologist, is warning that the seeds of distrust have been planted. Piastri is watching his back, and if McLaren doesn't fix the mental rift, he'll be the first one to jump ship in 2027. He was beaten not just by Lando, but by a team that couldn't decide who their leader was. The 2026 season isn't going to be won on the track in March. It's being won and lost right now in the secret meetings in Barcelona, in the loopholes of the engine regulations, and in the bitter resentments of the team principals. Ferrari is betting on a compact gearbox and a driver who hasn't seen a podium in a year. Mercedes is betting on a thermal expansion trick that borders on the illegal. Red Bull is betting on an engine built from scratch while their staff flees to join their former boss. It's absolute chaos. Every single team is lying to you. They tell you they are confident. They tell you the data is good. But behind those garage doors, they are terrified. We are looking at a championship that could be decided by the FIA's ability to measure the temperature of a cylinder. We are looking at the potential end of Lewis Hamilton's career and the rise of a new, ruthless Mercedes dominance. The betrayal, the technical theft, and the psychological warfare, it's all leading to a 2026 season that will either be the greatest in history or the final nail in the coffin for the sport's credibility. Ferrari is already planning to protest the very first race in Australia. They know they've lost the technical war, so they are moving the battlefield to the courtroom. Max Verstappen is watching his empire crumble. Lewis Hamilton is watching his dream fade. And Christian Her is sitting in the wings, waiting to buy his way back into power. The rings are rolling at Audi. The engines are screaming at Mercedes and the hearts are breaking at Maranello. This isn't just a sport anymore, it's a global conspiracy at 200 mph. Your head should be exploding because the truth is far more twisted than any rumor you've read on Twitter. The 2026 war has already started, and right now the only winners are the ones who know how to break the rules without breaking the